Welcome to the podcast, and today we're here with Bram Verhofstad, and you finished 4th on the World Championships in 2017 of Gymnastics. You are a pro gymnast, or at least...
Were, I guess. I stopped getting paid to do gymnastics last November, and since then I've developed a lot of other skill sets.
We'll get into that. And also, for those who are watching, you might notice that we are sitting on the ground and we're in a completely different environment than normally. And we'll also get to that. Let's start the podcast. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
We also got some tea here. Nice.
That's perfect. So you stopped in November, but how have you been since?
Really good actually. I haven't stopped because I'm still training every day. Like that's the first thing I block for a day. Is like I need to have my 2 hours in the gym. It's not even like training. I just need to be like in
2 hours
that environment. Yeah, around that time. Sometimes I'm in and out in like an hour. Sometimes I stay there for 3. It's
14 hours a week.
That's what it looks like when you stop professional gymnastics.
Yeah, it's just for fun now. And because I need it, it's also like a diagnosing tool. So if I feel something weird in my body when I do a move that I usually easily do in gymnastics, and I feel there's something wrong, and then I can adjust my game plan on it.
That's fair. So you've still been working out, still been training. What else? What's new in your life since
So I needed to find another way of making money, and I've always been really interested in strength training. I always lifted weights a lot in my gymnastics career. So I just started emailing all CrossFit gyms in the neighborhood to see if they want to hire me. I just explained what I did, what my experience is as a gymnast. And there was one gym that wanted to have a conversation with me. They were really excited. I was really excited. So now I do that. I teach CrossFit, but I also teach gymnastics to CrossFitters. I do that here and also in The Hague. So like I just teach people how to stand on their hands, basically.
Because you say here, where are we right now?
Okay, we're now in Den Bosch. I have pretty much 2 home bases, Den Bosch and The Hague. The Hague is where my girlfriend lives, and where my other work is. It's basically the same work, just a different place.
Because here, we're now in a complex in your apartment, which is basically full of pro athletes.
Yeah.
And elderly people.
And elderly people.
Yeah,
Aren't they pro athletes as well? It's really hard for them to move, so they got a pret. No, I'm just kidding.
But this is the base, and we just finished off recording a video in what is basically your second home?
Yeah,
the gymnasium is what it's called, or how do you call it? What is your name for it?
We call it the Turnfabriek.
Gymnastics factory.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, but that's what
the factory.
And you live here right now?
Yeah. This is my main place of living.
Because as we talked about, we're sitting on the ground. There's no furniture. There is no bed, at least visually. There is one that you lay every single night on the floor, and then you sleep.
I pick it up and put it back.
That's interesting. Why is that?
First, it was just to save space. Because in Corona times, I was at my parents' and they have a lot of space. They have a big garden. And then when I came here, when training started a little bit again, I missed that space. So I just started removing furniture here and there and started to rearrange things so that I can still practice my movements in my chill environment. So I started removing a couch over there. And I was like, this is nice. But why is that space?
I like how we were both looking at that spot where like,
let's look at the couch.
There should be a couch.
Yeah, but there's not a couch anymore. And I thought that I would really miss it because I thought this is going to be really uncomfortable. But it wasn't really. It just gave me more space and it forced me to move, to be flexible, to be comfortable in uncomfortable positions.
Yeah, I really get that because I'm probably the least mobile, flexible person out there from the 3 of us. Well, even though Browney's also probably close with me. We've been going for, 3-4 minutes? I already noticed I can't keep sitting like this. Right? I can't keep crossing my legs.
No, but that's like the point. The point is to keep on moving.
Yeah. You got to keep your back straight.
Exactly. I was already finding other positions to sit in.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But so you do this all... Well, okay, obviously you train but basically this is really standard for you.
Yeah.
Just sitting down on the floor.
Yeah, this is also where I eat. and where I write and
Yeah,
where I do everything.
literally, because this is here also, and this is our table.
This is a towel,
but
by the way.
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
where you just ate your meal,
Yeah.
the post-workout meal, basically.
Yeah.
And this entire shot was also kind of decided by you. I really wanted to make you feel comfortable, and you wanted to. You said, "Oh, I'll sit here in
Yeah.
below the plants." I'm
It's
not
just a
sure.
comfortable spot for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's either like somewhere here or like there, because I have a desk, and sometimes what I do is I put this little table, I put it in front of here, and then I put my laptop on there, and then I sit on the floor. I have my laptop here. And I
not
can
even
just
against
work.
the wall.
No,
Phew.
I usually just squat a lot as well. Like I'm like often working like this.
In a squat position. Let me
Yeah.
just set the scene right now for people listening on Spotify and not seeing this on YouTube. By the way, you should definitely check this one out on YouTube. So basically, the three of us are sitting in a semicircle or in like a triangle on the floor right now, a little carpet. There's a towel in front of us, which is the table. And Bram is actually sort of hidden in between some plants while he's doing a squat and talking to us right now. It's definitely very interesting.
Interesting scenes.
Interesting scenes, yeah,
Interesting
definitely,
scenes.
definitely.
And are there any real benefits already that you've noticed in terms of maybe productivity and stuff like that?
The thing is, you don't get distracted as much because it's very easy to just fall on the couch, but it's so hard to get off. If there's no couch to...
So you have to get up, and you get up very quickly. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm just going
Because you do it all the
You don't
time.
even think about it.
No.
That's true. Even though getting up is difficult.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because especially when I'm cooking, I'm eating at the same time usually, and like I constantly have to go down to eat and then stand up to cook again, because that over there is my kitchen. It's like a
Yeah,
little
he
table.
just made a meal outside, basically, which was interesting. You just have a small stove.
Yeah, I have like a
Electric stove,
one pan induction heater, and then I have a cast iron pan.
And it works.
Yeah,
It works.
I have no dishes. I own one spoon,
That's interesting. So,
one spoon and one pan.
I mean, yeah.
Is it for you? Would it be for you?
Oh, definitely not. I do think, well, basically, because we've spent the day together so far, and for me, definitely, just as for you, probably flexibility, mobility is a thing. And I think a lot of people struggle with what we struggle with flexibility. If you are just, for example, played football, soccer your whole life, hamstrings are short, and it just hurts. And you said that's why you shouldn't be doing it like plan 30 minutes in your day and really go hardcore and push yourself.
No.
You just keep doing it throughout the day. And I do think that this forces you to, well, at least move and try and be mobile. And I'm trying to find a comfortable position right now,
Exactly.
which isn't really working. So I do think on that part, yes, but no, it's not for me.
No.
But it would be good for me.
Yes. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I'm more interested as well right now in like the way you move around every single day. So you already said you plan your 2-hour workout or your 2-hour session. How do you move around here? What do you do?
Well, I'm not even home as much as I used to be, because now I do CrossFit coaching at 7 in the morning, and I ride my bike there. So I get up at like 5:30. I ride my bike there, and I'm there at like 6:45, whatever. I coach for 3 hours, then I ride home. I do my gymnastics, then I come home, I eat, and I write my programs or whatever I need to do, answer some emails, whatever, work stuff. And then I go back to do another coaching session, either back in Os, or I do gymnastics coaching in another place.
So that's an interesting thing as well, because you mentioned now programs and stuff like that. Your your pro card, basically your pro gymnastics status. What is happening there?
Usually, you need to hit a certain spot, either a World Championships or a European Championships each year, to renew it. So I got mine in 2017. And in 2018, after that, we got like a team thing that we could all get a spot. Then in 2019 and 2020, I was injured in 2019, and 2020 I couldn't really do anything because of the virus. 21 was then my first chance to renew it or whatever. But again, I just wasn't good enough. That's like the fair point. I wasn't fit to be a pro gymnast anymore. So that got cut.
That's so fit, not fit enough. Have you seen this guy?
Wait, yeah. So
I'm physically fit.
Yes.
I'm just not.
Oh yeah, there's.
My level wasn't high enough.
Of course, there's a big difference between. I mean, you were still. We have to put everything in perspective here, right?
Course,
so what you would call not being really fit would for us be like the fittest we've ever been. Also, like in terms of how you can move and all those things.
Everything, yeah.
But there's a big difference in general, and I've also noticed this between looking fit and being fit. It's pretty easy to look fit if you just put your mind to it. But being fit actually takes much more work. So yeah, please do continue. Like you were okay. So you said I wasn't fit enough, so I didn't make it. That year. And then what? Is that the moment you decided, okay, then I'm...
No, it was like a freeing moment. I was like, oh, I can finally see what's on the other side of just training. Because my days then were pretty, like if I look at it back now, it was pretty lazy. I got up at like 8, started training at 9 till 11 or 10:30, got home, 8, slept, and then I trained another 3 hours from 3 till 6. But in those blocks before and after, I didn't do anything. And now I do coaching in front of my day and in the back of my day. And it feels so much more rewarding. I get so much more experience throughout my day.
And that is, like you said, the other side, because you've been doing this your entire life.
Yeah.
And now it's another experience, basically. It's another life.
Yeah.
And with that, it sounds positive because it's freeing. That's how you called it. That sounds positive. But with that also comes maybe something negative, maybe like in terms of you get paid to be the pro, I think.
I don't get any money from gymnastics anymore.
No. So what do you do right now? You have the jobs you just talked about.
That's everything.
And that's working right now?
Yeah.
That's
great
I
to just figured it out in like 2 months and everything was set.
Sick.
Nice. Because I remember you called me maybe a few months ago.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, did you hear I stopped, pro gymnastics? And I actually read it somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
And before I could even answer, you said, I'm so happy.
Yeah, man.
Like you really sound like I finally
had to get up and do.
Yeah. But does that mean you didn't enjoy what you were doing, or it was just so part of your life you never really looked at it?
Yeah, and it was to feel worthy of that spot. I felt like I had to give it my all each day, but that's not really a healthy thing for a sport or for anything that you like to do. You can't just force it each day. And this feels like a way healthier relationship with gymnastics, and that makes me enjoy it even more.
Makes sense.
It's interesting because we already talked about. I think we already talked about Bram before losing your pro card, because that was at the end of 2021.
Yeah.
So we already talked maybe even about videos with gymnastics. Maybe I'm not even sure, but that so much can change in such a short period of time, and luckily for the better, which is awesome to hear. But it seems like you've got an entire flow right now. In terms of you got a cool home space, which is it's not the biggest, but it's big enough, definitely, and it's actually
especially for how many times I am here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got your work. You seem happy. Are you happier now? Then
yeah, definitely. Yes? Yeah, this is so much more fulfilling because all of this knowledge that I have gathered in my gymnastics career, I could only use it on myself really, and now I can give it to other people, and I see people improve so fast, because of the skill set I've built in the 20 years of doing pro gymnastics. I can now help people with that skill set, and that feels just really rewarding.
I mean, I would say for those listening and who haven't seen Browney's video yet with Bram, make sure to check it out to see how much he can teach someone like Browney in a day.
I was
because
hyped.
Browney got rid of a fear you'd had for years, something sort of almost a mental block within maybe 30 minutes. So,
yes.
I definitely see how you can help people for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. What are you enjoying the most in life right now?
I think it's when a person does a move a few times and then it finally clicks. That click moment, that's super satisfying because you can literally see the movement click in someone's mind.
Did you see how he not even thought about something else than teaching or gymnastics?
Yeah,
it was right away like teaching people, because that's actually what I was thinking as an answer. But you right away went into the specific moment that it hits, that it sparks for you, which is great, because we recorded the video and it was clear that you wanted to broaden people and help people perspective on gymnastics with gamifying gymnastics, even making it fun in any way, which is exactly what we're doing on the main channel, on the Browney channel. We make working out fun. We tried to come up with challenges, and it's funny, you challenged us to do something. We were doing that for like 10 minutes. We did all the challenges, and then it's like, yo, you just did a shoulder routine. You just did you just did your shoulder for 10 minutes.
You didn't even know.
I was like, oh yeah, that's what we did. It was shoulder training. So that is so awesome. Yeah, it's exactly. Click for me. If you haven't seen the video, epic.
I like what you said, because I remember when people sometimes ask me why I like coaching, I actually give the same answer of like the moment you see sort of a spark in their eye, like, hey, I get it, or that's so fulfilling. Right? It's the most satisfying thing as a person, that you can see you actually helped someone and they're happier or better at some point. I do have a question for you, because it might be people who've always been listening to our podcast, they know I might not be the biggest fan of CrossFit. And I think in gymnastics, it's all about how you perform a certain thing, right? The way you move, the way is super important. The way it looks is super important. The way that I see CrossFit, maybe I'm wrong, is the amount of reps you can do is more important than the way you do it, which is my biggest fear with it, because it also leads to injuries for people.
And that's
how do you combine the two?
No, I'm super happy that I'm now in the CrossFit space, because I can finally teach people how to move safely, and that's also something that was really lacking in that community. Is just the safety of the athletes. So I've realized that I have a huge like gap to fill with knowledge. And that's also like very exciting. But I definitely agree. There's a lot of things that can improve over there.
I mean, of course, every box will be different. CrossFit boxes, some will be much more professional than others. But in general, I think they're such a worlds apart. But it's cool if you can sort of bridge that gap and bring it more towards each other. I think
because I'm also now using CrossFit concepts in my gymnastics training. Sometimes it's not about the execution. Sometimes it's about the numbers. You just need to execute the rep over and over and over again. And eventually your body will get the movement.
Again, look at the things that you tried today.
The insane amount of backflips. And I wanted to do them. I really enjoyed it.
You didn't want to stop.
I didn't want to stop. No. It's not like you have to do it to do it. No, I wanted to do it, and it was fun. I mean, you basically do the training in the CrossFit boxes right now. And that's just basically every single day.
On Monday and Tuesday, I'm in The Hague. And on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm in Os.
Yeah, you sound happy. You sound passionate about it. Do you think about the future at all?
A lot of times.
Where do you see? Where do you see yourself in terms of future? And then it's probably going to be about maybe where you see yourself with the CrossFit boxes or...
No, I definitely want to, for now, just keep expanding my knowledge. Just work with as many people as possible so that I can just become better as a coach, get more knowledge on movements, because just getting knowledge on how things work in your body is one of the most interesting concepts to me. Also, what happens to your body if you're like permanently cold. It's very interesting to me. So, for example, this winter, I went without a jacket for the entire winter, and just to see what happens. And it was uncomfortable, but I just had to eat a little more and breathe a little faster.
That's interesting.
We've seen it. We talked about it when you came to the studio to my place in shorts, and it was quite cold outside.
It was quite cold.
It was quite cold. Yeah, which is funny. But the future itself, that's.
Oh, yeah, right. So first it's just knowledge, getting more knowledge, and eventually I do see myself with a nice gym.
Yeah, your own box.
My own movement space.
Yes.
I envision something like a big like forest with an open gym in the middle that is pretty much outside but also sheltered from the rain, with obstacles and stuff that you can hang from.
In Holland?
Barbells. Yeah, there needs to be some space for it. It'll cost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, he was talking about the weather.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you just said. You might be comfortable when it's cold, but I think a lot of people, especially when you're moving, the concept of being in the gymnastics hall, in the gymnastics factory, it was actually really warm. And one of the things I said is probably because, when you're warmer, it's safer. Then you said, no, it's a false sense of safety because you think you're warm, but your muscles aren't warm.
Exactly.
So I guess maybe it makes sense.
But it could be an inside and outside thing. So you could even, if it really gets bad, people could also...
There you could make solutions for.
So yes, there's thought about the future. I mean, I envisioned you already. I thought about you having your own box. I thought that would be a cool one, but maybe it also kind of looked like you live in the moment, which is also kind of your mindset maybe in terms of it's like because there's some things you said today about I mean, all right, this happened. Let's just deal with it.
Yeah.
In terms of like, all right, let's go. Let's move forward.
Yeah, it's not That's one thing. My coach his name is also Bram van Bokhoven. He was the head coach for Dutch Gymnastics for the longest time, and he was also coaching my gym. And he always said, it doesn't matter what happens, it matters how you deal with it. And I looked up to him so much that I literally took that for every single thing in my life.
It's a good piece of advice, because what has happened.
Yeah, you can look at it and learn from it, but then the trick is, how do you deal with it? Because sets a whole new series of events.
Oh, yeah. I think that's fair, because a lot of people always say, oh, you have to feel in order to learn. That's bullshit. But if you feel, you better learn. I think that's more so if you get into adversity, if you get into something that is not nice, then it is like, okay, this is the situation. We'll fix it. We'll deal with it. And what can I learn from it?
Yeah, be excited to learn.
Yeah, I agree.
So future, let's say in an alternate universe, you didn't stop, or you didn't you still were pro.
Yeah.
Is there something would you miss that? Like, in terms of, you could, for example, win a lot of stuff, maybe go to the Olympics, because you didn't go to the Olympics?
No, not yet.
Not yet, but are you do you think
As
you're
a
going to miss
coach.
that?
You heard that, right?
Yes.
Yet. Not yet.
Oh.
It's not over. I'm still in the gym 14 hours a week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still strength training 10 hours a week.
Do you think...
So you haven't given up?
It's not. It's never been about the goal. It's been about the process. I just enjoy gymnastics so much that it led me to becoming fourth in the world, and it led me to traveling all these countries. It was never the goal. It's just a result of.
Yes, exactly. But would you, now that you came so close, are you?
No, I'm not reaching.
You will see what happens.
I'm just jumping.
So you will
and
see
I'll
what happens.
see where I land. Yeah.
I think that's cool. At the same time, I do think having a very clear goal and vision for some people might be super good.
Definitely.
Like, for example, if you say, now I want to have my movement space, that's a goal, right? And you're going to have to figure out how to fuck to do that, right? You're going to need a lot of money.
Definitely.
So you need to have a goal to sort of work back, right? So in order to reach this, I might need this much money. In order to make this much money, I might have to do all these kind of things.
Yep.
Yeah,
But for you, it was the other way around then, when it comes to gymnastics.
Yeah. It was just a habit that
But you
I
must
did.
have had a goal.
you're telling me.
Yeah, the next trick.
You're telling me you came fourth in the world by just seeing what happens, but you're just being still passionate about gymnastics, but not having it as a goal to reach.
Yeah, exactly.
You could probably hear we're a bit surprised, but
Yes,
I think that's cool.
not the way.
Do
No,
you
that's,
think
that's
is that a?
very different. I know.
I was gonna ask, is that a common thing within the gymnastics world, or is that just a common thing for Bram?
Not really common.
No.
I also never really planned my sessions. I just did what I felt like doing, and that was usually all I needed to
We're
do.
just looking at
in
each
my
other.
opinion, or in my opinion, what I thought was the experience in for pro athletes, anything pro. If you ask Ronaldo, if you ask anyone in the world, like,
It's also about the sacrifices, right?
what do you want to do? You want to be the best in the world? Yes, my goal is to be the best in the world. Like,
Yeah.
I think, like with everything in life, it's all about finding what works for you. And if what works for you is not having such a hard goal, because then what if you don't make it, or maybe that brings like pressure or something. So I think that's good. You figured out that for you, just going with the flow works.
So in a way that he would not have had. Would you think
You have
you
less
would've-
pressure if you don't say my ultimate goal is I have to make the Olympics.
Because I was thinking, if you would have had that, so you came fourth of the world without having that goal, where could you have been with that goal? But do you think you would have been better?
Well, I think that's the problem, because after 2017, I think mentally a lot has changed, because it was such a blast that was my first Worlds, and then becoming fourth there, that set such huge expectations afterwards, and I think my body just reacted so bad to it that I got injured and I just couldn't
Sets
really move
expectations.
freely anymore. I think that was the year. It seemed like the perfect highlight year, but it might be like the start of my deterioration as a professional gymnast.
But then
down,
so the downfall or something. But then when you say, going back to you saying I'm really happy now, do you think prior to 2017 you were also happier than after 2017? So are you now back at that level?
Yeah.
So,
it feels like these cycles move in 4 years, just like the Olympics. It's like, especially before something big, you're usually very excited, right? But whenever the big thing happens, you start to to go down.
Yeah. You have that
And that's-
gap you fall into.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But those waves, those are natural. Those are fine. And the trick is to be okay with those waves. That's again, it doesn't matter where the wave is going. It matters how you deal with it.
Yeah, I agree. But maybe also prior to 2017, you had, of course, it was pressure because you were getting paid to do gymnastics, you were working out and training for it every single day. But people didn't expect you to become 5th or 6th in the Olympics, right? Because, and then all of a sudden, now you're number 4 in the world, which is a super cool story you're going to get into soon as well. And now people all of a sudden expect you to be at the top of the world every single day. So it might bring a lot of pressure.
Maybe, yeah. I never thought of it like other people expect this from me. It was more like just the expectation from myself.
So since when have you been doing gymnastics?
Since I was 7, so 20 years now.
20 years. And how it must have been one hell of a ride for you, but also for your parents?
Yeah, my parents, definitely. Especially when I was doing gymnastics for 3 years. After that, I started going to Den Bosch, to this place that we're in right now.
Oh, you've been here for...
For training,
I've
right?
been training here for 17 years. The first 3 years of training was kind of close to my hometown.
Because how old are you right now? Like
27.
27 then, yes.
And driving here from my hometown was an hour. So my parents drove me 5 times a week, an hour back and an hour. Well, an
and
hour
forth,
forth, an hour back.
Yeah.
So that's 10
crazy.
hours a week just driving, and they stayed there. So it's another 3 hours, 5 times a week. So yeah, 25 hours.
25 hours a week.
It's crazy.
So they really...
They invested like a lot of time in my gymnastics career, yeah.
So what did they think when you sort of didn't get your pro card anymore? They
They were just like concerned for me. They were like, "Are you okay? And do we need to help you with anything?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm good."
happy.
nah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it makes sense, right? As at the end of the day, as parents, what you want is just your child to be happy. And if you're not happy right now with just pursuing gymnastics, then they also don't want you. But I guess
That
to
sounds
pursue it.
kind of the perfect world, because I think your parents, luckily, they sound amazing.
Yeah.
But some parents could be definitely...
I mean, that's true, but I think a lot of parents think that you need to make a lot of money in order to be happy. I'm not, I mean, there's no parents who think, oh, I want my kids to be unhappy, but make a lot of money.
No, exactly. But maybe in terms of, I was even talking about performance, because money. Can you make a lot of money with? There's in the Netherlands, I think there is more like this stigma around it that you can't make a lot of money with even like a lot of Olympic sports, because we have Epke here in the Netherlands.
He
and
probably made quite some money.
Yeah,
Sponsorships.
he probably did eventually, but he still had other jobs, and he got a PhD in even I think a PhD. So that's pretty crazy. But he still did all these things. So in my mind, gymnastics and Olympics, they don't get a lot of money.
No, it's not a crazy amount, but
Which is crazy to me in terms of all the effort. But on the other hand, it kind of makes sense because it's all just about demand for the sports and how much people are watching and what it's worth.
exactly. And you need to accept that as the athlete of the sport that you're doing. As a football player, you get a lot of more money, but you also have other negative things.
Yeah, it's about what
You have people who can kick your leg off.
Oh,
You don't have that in gymnastics.
You can only do it yourself.
Yeah. No, but like there's just a demand for the football that's crazy.
True.
Like it's a totally different environment than gymnastics, and it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean you can't compare them. Also, if you love gymnastics, don't do football because you earn more money there.
exactly.
That makes no sense.
No.
It's all about just what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
So, of course, here you don't make a lot of money. But I know with a lot of sports like speed skating, if you live in Holland, you make a lot of money. Other countries, you don't. How is that in gymnastics? Like Russia, United States, do they make a lot more?
I think it's different in the United States because over there you have college. The rules there are a little bit different. Like if you participate in the college gymnastics and you get a what do you call it?
A scholarship?
Scholarship, exactly. Thank you. I don't think you can make money from gymnastics, even if you win a World Cup or something. All of the money, I think, goes to the school because the school pays for your
I think so as
education and stuff. Yeah, so it's a little bit different there, but yeah, the school there is also
Because
really
eventually you have to
expensive.
get a pro contract. At least that's in basketball and stuff like that. But I'm not sure how you... then you would get a pro contract at a pro team in gymnastics. But are there pro teams?
No, and that's the thing. There are no teams. It's
Only
just
national teams.
Yeah, it's only the national team.
And most national teams don't pay that well because everyone wants to be in a national team. So if you're asking too much, you just don't get selected.
Yeah.
I think if you look at ice skating, the big thing is that they changed from national teams to like sponsored commercial teams. And over here, that's when people like Sven Kramer, who started making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
But hey, at the end of the day, you never started gymnastics because you were hoping to make a lot of money.
Exactly.
You probably started because either your parents.
Yeah,
why did you start?
Yeah.
Okay. I was always okay. Imagine this being a fork, right?
Yes.
This is my head. This is my face. These are my feet. I was always like making flips with my fork and with other utensils. I was just watching the way it moves and if it twists and stuff. So my parents thought, why not send him to a place where he can do these moves himself? And yeah,
that's cool.
That was kind of the start of the story.
Oh, that's a wholesome start.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story, right?
I mean, it's not like not anything bad because sometimes pro sports and high level sports get a bad rep for obviously being a little bit hard on kids.
Or
but
people get pushed by their parents, right? That also happens a lot. Yeah.
But now, it sounds like you wanted it.
Yeah, they just saw a habit in me, or they just saw something in me, and they were like, "Hey, he can do this with his body, and that'll be fun." And it was fun.
I mean, it's crazy what this guy can do. Whenever you look at the handstand, you're just. At some point, I thought you were more in handstand position than normal position.
Yeah. When you're on the floor the entire day, you got to mix it up, right?
Yeah, you got to mix it up. You
got to use every muscle.
Because I think during lockdown, what I saw mainly on your Instagram was you started doing a lot of what's called what's it called on the hands you do?
It's an Airflare.
An Airflare.
Yeah. It's a move that came from breakdancing. I think in the 1990s, maybe early 2000s. Pretty recent if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really different, complicated handstand move where you twist your legs, and yeah, it's just a crazy skill, and it's worth a lot in gymnastics as well.
A lot of points.
Yeah. So I wanted to take that time, that year, to learn that skill, and it took a lot of practice in the backyard of my parents.
I've seen that. Yeah.
I've literally just spent the entire summer and winter and all the time in their backyard practicing that move. Yeah, now I can do it.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw your handstand right now, which is, well, let's say, pretty good.
Yeah,
do you feel it really improved thanks to this as well?
Yeah. Because I never found handstands that fun, and so I never did them because I just did what I found fun.
You train handstands completely different, or teach handstands completely different than I'm used to. I mean, I'm here with Arjen as well. You're so much about the movement, about the handstand. About handstand is a lot about getting the reps in, about getting it in.
Yeah.
But you talk about moving the entire time.
Yeah, it's just about...
And you're so comfortable on your hands. I think that's the key. Like moving the entire time.
Yep.
Normally with handstand, it's like stand on your hands, do this, or handstand push-ups. But the movement and the side to side, that's just a different way.
Yeah, it's all about the control of getting your shoulder where you want your shoulder to be. That's the point.
Walking, like you're not. If you're gonna walk, don't stand still the entire time. It's a weird. You
need to do both. You need to stand still, but you also need to be able to move.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I know you're into gaming. I've once watched a League of Legends stream you doing another weird ass game. I don't even know. But I think that you try and bring, as Browney already said earlier, you try and bring this gaming aspect into everything you do, also in gymnastics.
Yeah.
Can you like why and how does that work for you?
Well, for me, it's making the task easier because I'm not really focused on the work that I have to do. I'm just focused on finishing the game. You're
not focused on the goal.
Yeah.
You're focused on doing it. What you like.
It's
exactly the same what you just said about gymnastics in general.
Yeah, it's like the macro and the micro are the same thing.
Yeah, the same approach. Yeah,
you can all approach it in the same way. You can make everything a game.
That's so interesting.
That way, how do you win that game when you do gymnastics?
Never. Because if you beat the game, it's it's not fun anymore.
But then what's the goal during the game, during a training?
Have fun.
Yeah. Thanks.
Gain experience.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. Yeah, sometimes I like to push myself,
Yeah.
and sometimes I don't.
'Cause I think I heard you say today somewhere in the gymnastics hall, like, it's all about getting enough XP.
Yeah.
So basically getting enough experiences if you were playing a computer game.
Yeah. Like every hour in my day, I need to figure some way to gain experience in that hour. For example, riding to my work on my bike gives me experience. It gives me experience in like navigating. Gives me experience in doing all different tasks, being uncomfortable because like I'm not wearing a lot of clothes and it's still pretty cold and it's just an uncomfortable experience, but it gives me experience and it makes me resilient. And I want every hour to gives me either experience or resilience or anything in that spectrum. So I really plan my day to give me that.
I like the concept, but if you feel like every hour of your day has to be like that, doesn't that put like how do you really? I mean, you seem super chill and relaxed. You don't really give a fuck about anything. But if I would feel like every single hour I need to do something that brings me experience or resilience, then where's I'm just gonna lay down on the floor.
Well, that's a good thing.
Netflix.
Yeah, well, that's what I do every single day. I lay on the floor.
Yeah, but I mean,
where is the time for, or at least, do you feel you have time to do that? Do you allow yourself
to really chill?
Yeah, when I'm tired, I just lay and I sleep.
And also,
even in the gym, sometimes in the gym, I'm like super tired. I've done gymnastics for like an hour, and then I'm like, I'm tired. I'm just gonna sleep in a corner, and then I just literally lay there for half an hour, and then I either go home or I just continue. I just do whatever I want.
But the philosophy behind what you just said, I was completely I was like that makes sense. But then I thought about what we talk about a lot is feeling good, productivity, checking stuff off. If you have the goal of having fun, it's not really a check mark, is it? It's not like I completed this task. That it's not happening. No. How do you is that?
Sometimes I do like make a big check mark on my wall whenever I feel like I've had a good day or I checked a lot of boxes. Sometimes I just make a big check mark just to feel good, you know.
But it's not a problem that you don't really set any goals and hit them, or at least not really any. You just do it.
Yeah.
And you feel good about that.
Yeah, I just force myself into position where I don't have a choice to do it.
That's awesome.
Like having no furniture, I don't have a choice to sit on the couch and watch Netflix.
Oh, you change it for those. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like one decision to get rid of it, and then the decision has been made. You can't go back, and it doesn't.
So for the things you really, so maybe if we go back a little bit in time, you did have some of these things, like I want to do this more, and then you can check it off. But instead of doing that, you just changed your environment and just completely got rid of the couch instead. For example, I want to sit less on the couch. I want to be more in a better position. And
I have a question because, well, obviously that's something we've spoken about a lot on the podcast as well, how changing your environment should always be number one. But did you do this, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, did you do this because you knew that if you have the luxuries, you will have a very hard time not to use them? So would you say like it's hard for you to not go on the sofa if it's there? Yeah. Or just, I have
zero willpower.
Yeah, so I think...
It does not look like that to me.
That's true. But I think that comes back to something important, which is you've actually looked inside of yourself and think, what are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? And how can I sort of turn those weaknesses into strengths, or how can I change that? So your strength was moving, flexibility, those things were already strength. Yeah. Your weaknesses was not having enough willpower. I don't believe zero. But then removing that. So then all of a sudden that willpower thing is out of the equation. You have to move more, so your strength is even getting stronger. I do like the concept, even though I don't think I'll throw away my furniture after this.
But this works with your food as well.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't bring in the chocolate, you're not going to eat the chocolate.
Oh, I agree, but that's an easier thing to do than throwing out.
Because it's like less commitment.
I can always go to the supermarket later and get some chocolate. That's
exactly. It's not like, all right, let's get rid of my furniture, and then next week, you know what? Let's change it up. Let's do some furniture. You're not going to do that. Yeah.
Well, you could.
Yeah, if you really hate it, but it's not you're going to do a back and forth. Like chocolate is like Bob's.
I had like a transitional period, though, where I put my... I had a bed. I put that like up on the side. So I could get it down if I wanted to, but I could also just get my my little foam mattress and lay on there. And I
What
found
happened then?
myself
Yeah.
just using the foam mattress because it was easier. It was the path of least resistance. And it was worth to me to lay on the floor. And it didn't bring me any discomfort. So then a week later, I was like, okay, I'm going to throw out this bed because I don't need it anymore.
But you have a girlfriend, right?
Yeah. She met me in that transitional period.
Okay, so if I do this,
Yeah.
I lose my girlfriend.
Well, then you probably shouldn't do it.
No, but I'm not also not. It's also because it's not what I would be looking for. I like my
no.
bed, but I like the way you look at it. But it's more the question: how does your girlfriend look at this? And if she's here, she also
Yeah, she's
fully okay with it.
Yeah.
Sick.
yeah, it's crazy, right?
That's
Because it was she slept over, and then I was like, do you want to get the bed down, or do you want to just sleep how I sleep? And she was like, yeah, just do whatever you want to do. And it's been like that ever since. So she just fully...
Also at her place.
well, she has a little couch where you can... It's like a one-person couch. It's more like a chair without armrests.
Yeah.
oh okay. Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. She has an office chair.
But that's where you sleep on then, or
No, we sleep on the same mattress that I have here. We have one here and one there.
Mattress.
Yeah, it's like a futon mattress, like a Japanese thingy.
Yeah. So you said I would rather sleep there and have the benefits. So what are the benefits to sleeping on that type of mattress compared to a bed? Is it purely the will? It's hard to get out of bed, so... Or...
No. For me, I really like sleeping on the actual floor because it also gets you to really get up in the morning. That getting up is something that I wasn't expecting, but just the motion of standing up and actually having to use your muscles to stand upright is something that we don't even have to do usually when you get out of bed. You just flop your legs to the side and then you're upright.
I was just thinking, I just recently got a new bed and it's really high.
Yeah.
I can't even sort of sit on it when I'm standing. I have to jump. So every morning I just sort of throw my legs out and it just catapults me into standing up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very true.
so Bob's legs are dangling
They
like
are.
like a little toddler, like
They actually
sitting in
are.
the chair.
Can you imagine me
Yeah.
being so tall and then still having this issue?
Yeah, exactly. How would this happen? You're like 7 feet.
Yeah, I'm no, yeah, well, even the professional gymnast is taller than me, which in my opinion, most gymnasts
interesting.
aren't very tall.
No, I'm pretty tall for a gymnast.
Because what are your stats? So you're 27 years old. You're
177 centimeters, and I don't know what I weigh. I would guess somewhere in between 70 and 80.
75 was my guess.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
so.
so.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds
Heavy for a gymnast.
Yeah.
Or at least
Heavy and tall,
Yeah,
both.
heavy and tall. Exactly.
I mean, it depends, right? Because your main, and maybe that's good to go there. So your main
Discipline.
discipline is the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously,
It's the floor.
It's the floor,
But
yeah.
the discipline in gymnastics,
Yeah.
floor.
so if it would be rings, it would be you would have to lose weight probably.
Yeah,
Or-
but my body is just not made for rings. I
Exactly.
think.
Exactly,
You wouldn't
yeah.
even be able to do that
No.
compared to
Yeah.
the pros
For-
there.
compared to Yuri, like
He's
his
one-
body is so different compared to Yuri. From
Yeah,
Belgium.
he's
65.
165.
No, I think he's even
maybe
smaller.
short.
I think he's
Yeah.
around 160, yeah.
When
Yeah,
because
probably.
I was really a lot taller, and I'm 172.
Because
okay,
Yuri
yeah.
is like 160 tall and also 160 width.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Have you seen the arms there? It's like heads.
Yeah.
It's like just heads. But yeah, so the floor is your discipline. I think that is also the best in terms of your composition, your body
Yeah.
stats.
I think so because I can use my entire body for floor. My core is pretty strong, and on floor you need to be super strong in your core because a lot of force is just like put on there.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
wouldn't say
basically
that if you see you without a shirt, that your core is strong.
No,
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You should definitely eat less.
Yeah.
I think so.
How,
Yeah.
how about just sidestep? Do you know how much calories you eat a day, or do you not track at all?
No, I don't. I used to track though. I think it's a very valuable thing to do because it gives you
Yeah.
experience on.
XP.
Yep.
Yeah.
It gives you XP on what's in food, and it learns you
Exactly.
everything about food and everything
Oh, yeah.
about what do you need to feel good, and
Yeah, you
that's
can.
different for everybody. So I really would advise everybody to just take a year or a month or like a month off and a month on to track your calories and to see what you're eating because it's just valuable information.
Exactly. So
But now I don't track anymore.
well, you any guesses?
I think some days I eat 2,000, some days I eat like 8,000. like I said, I have no
Variable
willpower.
is-
So if there's food, I literally stuff myself. My girlfriend makes like a cheesecake, and I ate a quarter of the cake. Or when she makes pho, it's Vietnamese soup. I just stuff myself.
But you're
when I'm
shredded.
not there, I'm here. I just eat like peanut butter out of a jar.
Yeah,
I'm
you
okay
just
with
ate
it.
peanut butter out of a jar, but that's a decent amount of calories.
Yeah.
But you're shredded to the bone, so I mean, I would not recommend any lower calories than that.
No,
So I
I
think
don't
keep
think
doing
so.
what you're doing.
Keep in mind, you probably still move 5-6 hours a day easy.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Yeah,
long is
active.
let's have a look. So how long is the bike ride to your work?
An hour.
So that's 2 hours back and forth,
Yep.
right? So then you teach, but you still move for a few
Yeah,
hours.
I'm on
probably?
my feet for
I think
4
you're
hours.
4 hours.
Quite active during the teaching.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I also joined the first
Yeah,
class.
exactly. You do.
Oh,
The
you also
movement,
joined.
right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so the
that's already 3 hours of really doing sports and then 3
Yeah.
hours of being active.
Yeah.
Then you work out for 2 hours yourself in the day.
Yeah.
That's 5 hours already
Yep.
of sports
Yeah.
and then 3 hours of moving.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, in the evening I do coaching as well for 5 hours.
So you burn at least 4,000 or 5,000 calories
that's-
every
I think
every
so, yeah.
single day.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that also because of my schedule, I don't really have that much time to eat. So I just eat
Yeah.
big portions.
I remember, so Bram and me, we've known each other for quite some years by now.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember,
Yeah.
I'm not speaking about that specific day, but we once had sushi. Let's stay away from that day on the podcast. We'll explain it some other day.
We'll elaborate.
We sometimes went to have sushi here somewhere, and I was always amazed by you were being shredded as fuck and how much sushi went into your
Yeah.
like you get 5 rounds. You're allowed to order 5 pieces or whatever per round.
He did 7.
Well, no, basically I didn't need all 5, so he
No.
was really happy, so he could use my rounds as well, and then still complain about being hungry after probably 7, 8 rounds.
Nah, I was full. I
You
think
were probably
I was
full. I hope
yeah.
so.
Jesus.
Yeah. Just for reference to what we're speaking about, we once had a good idea of not going completely sober to an all-you-can-eat place. For all those listening, if you think that's a good idea, it's not.
It's not. But it was because
It was a good experience.
it was
XP again.
a lot of XP.
So how did you guys meet? Good to know. Why do we know you?
I don't remember exactly, but what I do know is that pretty fast, I think you wanted to start your own clothing brand at the beginning, and I saw that probably in your story, and I thought, hey, I like to
true.
I'd
Be
like
in
to-
that project.
Yeah, and I like to do business. I like to help people, and just we sort of met up and connected
Yeah.
and had a cool vibe. And then we had some really good samples of a clothing line. Maybe
Yeah,
we can go into
we
that.
started a little bit of a clothing line, and didn't work out in the end because it was really fun in the beginning, and we had some samples. Things went good. We had some good samples. We had some bad samples, but eventually we just started. We just stopped really having contact with each other and also with the manufacturers, and just the project died down a little bit.
I think you transitioned, which is also an interesting thing. So I know you from someone who goes all in into certain things. So
Yeah.
we were talking about the clothing line. It didn't. I mean, we had some samples. We'll put it up on screen for those people who are watching on YouTube. It's not really the best we
Looks
ever got.
great. It looks epic.
Yeah, the shirts were good. The shorts
Shirts
were
were good.
And all of a sudden, you went full-time hardcore into MARB, which was your stage name
true.
for music.
I had that episode as well. Yeah,
Well, it took like 1 or 2 years, I think, right?
yeah. I still make music.
You still do.
How did you
Whenever I
get
feel
into
it.
the music?
I have a friend. His name is Kuiters, or Sura these days. And he started making music when we were in high school. And 2018, he was still making music. He goes to school for music and stuff. He is so he asked me like, "Yo, just rap on this beat or just sing something on this thing." So that's kind of how we started making music, and then we just made an album together. It's a Dutch hip hop album, pretty funny. Or it's not really hip hop. It's just weird. And then I started making music myself. I just started learning how to produce and getting more of the technical stuff down, and made another 2 albums and a bunch of other songs.
I wanted to ask why MARB, and then I realized it's Bram backwards.
Yeah.
So there you go. For those who are wondering.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, your music career, everything. We will put everything in the description.
Sure, you can if you want
Yeah,
to.
we
but-
definitely want to. No,
You still, because you say you still make music,
Yeah,
but you
right.
don't really
Yeah.
put it out on Spotify anymore.
No, it's usually on SoundCloud.
So we went over this a bit fast, but you were number 4 in the world on floor, which, by the way, I think you're the only Dutch person ever to even make the finals on the World Cup on the floor.
No, Jeffrey Wellens also made the finals.
Okay,
on the
but
World
you were the highest
Championships.
ever from
Yeah,
Dutch.
he became 5th, and I became 4th.
Still?
Which year was that he did?
I think 2005
Oh, okay, that's a
in
long,
Melbourne.
That's a long.
Jeffrey
alright.
Wellens? Wow, I must be getting old because I feel like he didn't. When did he stop?
2016.
Okay, so okay.
He went
so
to
he
the
was super
Olympics
young then, probably.
Yeah,
when-
yeah.
Ah, that's why.
So he stopped, and then a year later, boom, you got his record.
Kinda.
Nice, but there's a really interesting story behind how you even made the finals.
Yeah.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, definitely. So we did the first routine, and yeah, I felt something a little bit weird in the floor, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. And it wasn't my best routine, but it was like, it's my first World Championships. I'm pretty happy. I did everything that I wanted to do, not the best, but yeah, it was good enough for me. So I was like, okay. And then Bart went after me, Bart Durlo. And he fell on the floor, and then he pointed to a spot in the floor. He was like, this spot is like not okay. So they checked it out, and there was indeed like something not okay with the spot on the floor. It was a broken piece of whatever. So they told us that we could all go again. So yeah, I went again, and I had literally the best routine of my life. And I think it's literally that thing again of not having the pressure anymore and just doing it for fun, because why not? I'm on the World Championships. I can do this again. It's going to be fun. And I just nailed everything and had the best routine of my life, and that put me in the final.
But then your final was also pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
Otherwise you
went
wouldn't
in
be
with
fourth.
the same mentality of just, I enjoyed that atmosphere so much. And that floor was also just very bouncy, and I liked it very much, that I was just excited to perform.
How does that
my
work?
stuff.
In terms of, so you go to before the finals, pre-finals, or you qualifications,
Yeah.
and how many people are there?
A lot. 500?
500.
But more
Like total-
contestants for the floor. How many-
No, on floor like 130-ish.
for the first place, all going for first place.
All going for top 8, and then the next 2 days later or something,
The finals.
those top 8, they go.
So you were in the top 8 of the first 130 people. Do you know what position did you have before you had to rerun
I think
it?
17th or 27th or
Still really
something.
good, but it's a big difference.
yeah.
So fourth is a big deal.
Yeah, but like the top 8, and then you have a bunch of guys from like place 10 to 30 who can all hit one of those top 8 spots, but you need to hit perfectly to hit one of those top 8 spots.
So you ended up in the top 8 spots, and you just get picked for that, or is it just
You just
you
get a score.
and you came fourth there as well?
In the top 8, I got in at like the 7th place or something.
7th.
Yeah, and then the next Saturday was the finals.
Yeah,
And there I became 4th.
That's
I
a
did an
big
even better
deal.
routine then.
that's
So,
crazy.
It's crazy. Maybe one important thing, because you said you get scored, and I know your opinion on this. I know you're not a big fan, and two questions.
Of the way they do
Of the way
scoring.
it is. So why are you not a big fan? And two, what would you say they could do to improve it?
It's just
The way of
just such a-
scoring gymnastics.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
that's
it's just such a difficult thing to score, because you have so much opinions and so much schools of thought about movement, even within the same sport being gymnastics. So it's really difficult to quantify someone's performance in a score. It's more a performance art, like a circus, than a sport, in my opinion. So that makes it really difficult to make it a competition. Because everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. And usually for the normal eye, there's not a clear winner. And I find that a little bit disappointing, and I think gymnastics could do better in that aspect.
How?
No idea.
Yeah.
There are many things that can happen. For example, in Germany, you have the Bundesliga competitions. That's more a team score, where one person of one team goes against another person of the other team. And then the person who does the best routine gains score points. So for example, you could end floor being at a score of 7-3. And that puts it way more in perspective for people.
But it's still subjective. Who wins?
Yeah, because it's still like the score versus the other score. But that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is not looking at execution at all and making it a game. For example, there was this game that they did in America.
Gamifying it.
Yeah, where it's basically a game of horse. You have to set a trick for the other team, and the other team can do the trick. If they do it successfully, they don't get a letter. If they don't do it successfully, then...
But you also have to do it yourself first, right? Because if you don't do it yourself...
Yeah, but that's not really like the classic way of doing gymnastics. And
this would more be a sub-sport of gymnastics?
Yeah, I think so. Because gymnastics... Also, it needs to be preserved the way it was intended. Yes. But there needs to be room for something bigger. There needs to be room for growth.
For something 21st century.
Exactly.
Ish.
Yeah.
I think it's with every jury sport, right? I remember watching the Winter Olympics a few months ago, and there was this snowboard, the where they jump and do tricks. There was a Dutch guy, and he fell slightly, and everyone was like super pissed about how many points he got subtracted. He had to go again. He did sort of the same, touching the snow with his hand. All the other athletes came running to him to cheer him on, like such a great performance, and all of a sudden his points were like 50% higher because the jury thought, apparently it's not such a big mistake, and that made him actually get a medal. So or at least go to the finals.
Crazy.
So I think in general with a jury it's just very difficult to do that, So one more thing for everyone watching on YouTube, or if you're not, I'm looking at your shins, at your wrists, at your hands. They're basically one big bruise.
Yeah, kinda.
Everywhere. I mean...
And probably scars.
Yeah, I have this really cool scar as well.
It's a pretty... How did you get that one? It's a really big one on his forearm.
Someone drove into me while I was riding my longboard with a car.
It's not even gymnastics related.
But that's... when was this?
2021, right before World
last year.
Championships qualifiers.
Last year?
Yeah, just before World Championships.
Just before I lost my pro card.
If you would have been able to go to the World Championships, was this the reason you couldn't go to the qualifiers? But would you go to the qualifiers?
I did do one of the two qualifiers. So I missed the first one because of this.
Okay.
But also my Achilles was also hurting, and I just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So I think this was actually a good thing that happened because it kept me from over pushing myself. I think if this didn't happen, I might have like ruptured my Achilles or something. By the way, my Achilles is now fully healed because of squats.
That was your first injury?
No, I've had many.
Like
injuries.
the main injury, maybe?
No, that was my last one. Achilles was my last one.
I can imagine you get a lot of injuries doing gymnastics.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way.
Well, look,
you can
like you said, look at the bruises.
Yeah, so this is all just like, when I said I really like watching how the body responds to different stresses. This is the same thing. Like, this is just my body reacting to whatever I make it go through.
Of course, yeah.
So this gets damaged, and then it comes back stronger.
He's pointing at his wrist right now.
Yeah. So this gets damaged, and then it comes back stronger, and then it doesn't hurt the next time, or it hurts less.
I mean, that's the whole thing about strength training as well. You hurt your body, and it doesn't want that, so you grow back stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
And the mind works the same.
Yeah. Well, kind of. But I look at it, if you're comparing it to willpower, I felt like I couldn't train my willpower, but I could train to be okay in uncomfortable situations. That's true. But a lot of people think with mind stressing that it's like willpower related, and you need to grind and push through, and pushing through will make you a stronger person mentally. But yeah, I don't really know.
I mean, that's the last thing I will say on this is I think it's super interesting and inspiring to see how you have managed to really grow as a person and achieve goals by not really setting goals, by really focusing on the process, on the journey, enjoying the journey, which I think is super important. While someone, for example, like Cristiano Ronaldo, for him, the end goal is everything, and he's willing to put in everything. So once again, it's just what works for you. How do you? Because if you would push yourself like that, you would never have been fourth in the World Championship.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I would have been first.
Everything you've said so far today makes me think not.
It sounds like that this was the best approach for you.
Yeah.
Maybe you would have burned out either way, or you wouldn't have enjoyed it, and thus your progress wouldn't have been as much. So it's all per person, and I think it's funny because we talk about goals, at least a bit of more of a structured way of looking at it, and it's just super interesting. You look at it in a more open way, And it just depends. It's a subjective thing, and maybe you will find it out yourself, but maybe for some people that are watching, it could be worth to give it a try. If you're not where you are or where you want to be right now in terms of certain goals, and you're like, let's just try to enjoy it first, which is always a number one rule. Like that's what we say in what we do with working out courses and everything. We say, find what you like, find what you love. We can tell you to do 30 minutes of cardio every single day, but if you hate it, you're not going to do it. No. But if you like 30 minutes of playing football, do that. That is your cardio. I can bet you will even probably burn more than walking or
definitely.
Exactly.
Because you don't know that you're actually exerting that much effort.
Gamifying it, gaining XP, which are some terms I'm definitely going to use more. I like those.
Right. And it's a good difference because so many people online, especially in the business world and all those things, it's like you have to push yourself, you have to set goals and which for a part I agree, a part I really disagree, but I think it's really nice to hear the other side of
completely other side
and see how far you can. I mean, most people who say this never became fourth in the world with anything, right? So
it's interesting.
It's cool
because now you say it. If you would have told me this and you wouldn't have really done anything, particularly spectacular achievements and stuff like that, I would be like, that's cool and it's a good approach and I love that you're now happy. But think about the fact that when you do set goals, you probably would have come a lot further. But now it's like, well, you
I'm a lot more credible now.
You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's super interesting. It's not the traditional way at all, at least.
But I mean, I guess if you figure that we're sitting on the floor.
We didn't. It's not a traditional.
That's not.
I do push myself. In the end of the day, I do push myself.
You still feel super comfortable right now sitting? Because I'm
getting a little.
I have been trying to change position more and more the whole time.
Like if I wasn't like cramped into this spot, I would have changed position a lot more. I would sit more like this. You see my elbows cracking.
That's not even sitting, is it?
No.
So that's shoulder mobility as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is actually pretty. This is now nice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's actually nice now.
Because it puts pressure off your lower back.
Yeah, exactly.
And you train your handstand now.
Well, you know what? Then I'm going to ask you the last question in this position. What is your superpower? What are you really good at? What do you excel at? You can brag. You don't need to think about what other people will think. It's just, what are you really good at?
I think I'm really good at accepting situations. I think that's my main strength. It's just rolling with a situation, no matter how bad it is, but just dealing with it. That's my superpower.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's a mindset that what you did and we already talked about it. If you apply it to a lot of stuff or everything in life, you will spend so much time less worrying about what could have been, and spend a lot more time on what can be.
Yeah, just fixing the actual thing.
Yes.
It sounds like you meditate a lot. Do you?
No.
I mean, I guess your whole way of sitting and living might be a form of meditation.
Yeah, I for example, I have a rule that I don't consume any entertainment before work. That also means that I drive to my work without headphones. So it's a lot of quiet time. But it's not a mental thing that I set time to meditate.
An hour on the bike every morning at 5:30 or 6 a.m. without any sound, to me, that's
sounds
meditation.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it could be relaxing and it gives you me time.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
it gives you just time to process things.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just music and maybe even mind on zero and just go to work. Yeah. And otherwise, if you do music off, turn the music off, then you have to. You start thinking, you start processing things.
Yeah.
It's a good one, yeah.
But if you take your headphones with you, it's a lot harder to not wear them.
So you also don't listen to it on the way back then?
Sometimes.
Because then you have to bring them with you,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. But usually I put them in like a certain pocket that it's hard to access. So I make things difficult so that I don't choose that option.
Because of willpower, yeah.
I mean, you can also on the way back. I think I don't put my mind on zero most of the time if I have music on. I start thinking about just a lot of things as well. But yeah, having a form of both, 1 hour with, 1 hour without, is also very
because having that
concept.
right back with music, that's like dopamine pumping through the roof.
Yeah, right. It could also be a positive
thing. It feels
thing.
so much better if you haven't done it. And then when you do it, it feels so much better.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I think the same why I find it super important to put my phone on airplane mode before I go to bed.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen is you wake up, you grab your phone, and you see a shit ton of notifications. Maybe in your case, some Stripe notifications then of some sales, or just DMs or messages from people. It's dopamine release, which you then, then it's super easy to stay in bed or do nothing.
Yeah.
What we should do is work for dopamine. And that's what you're doing, basically.
Yeah. And on that thing, it also just hijacks your brain, because in that moment you're thinking of things, and then suddenly you just get blasted with different thoughts about your notifications, which puts your minds all over the place.
Yeah, that's I find both are very very valid points. I think that one is even the most for me. I think I have no really a lot of problem with getting out of bed right now, but that one is like, lots of things. I got this notification, let's check this. Let's also check this, let's check this right away. If you have your phone on airplane mode, it's like, let's get on with the day. Why wait? And then you're still waiting, but you're actually doing stuff which is not getting your day started.
I know we're in overtime. Brownie, I have a question for you. You have a smartwatch, you get your messages on your phone, or on your watch. Do you find that distracting? Because it means you always see what's happening on your phone.
Yeah, I kind of do, and I also kind of don't, because it puts your mind sometimes at ease in terms of, all right, I know it's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Before I never had this, but now I have my watch, and if I don't have my watch, I'm like,
You check your phone.
I forget to check my phone, which is not too big of a deal. But let's say I get called or something like that, I can go without looking at my watch for quite some time, and I just maybe even turn it off. But if I get called, then I know for sure.
Yeah.
Now I have no clue if I'm 100 meters away from my phone or 50 meters away. I'm like, is there something happening right now? And obviously not always something interesting is happening. I mean, maybe a little bit more or interesting that I need to reply to right away if, let's say, the website is down or whatever. But still manageable. But it's more like a ease of mind thing.
I'm older than you too. When I went to high school, no one had a cell phone. It was really chill.
Yeah, right?
It was really chill, thinking back. Because what you say is true, but sometimes, so for example, when we film a podcast, I switch my phone off. Because the worst thing that can happen is me feeling a sort of a notification, having to wait an hour. Because your mind's like, what if something important happens? What if... And probably it's like someone just saying some random bullshit thing, right?
Sometimes it's like a notification from an app that I didn't even know I had. Just like an app, like, hey, wonderful video editing, do it right now. And I'm like, I've never edited a video on my phone ever before, and now I have this app.
Which is why you should switch off notifications as much as possible on your phone.
You really need to manage that environment as well.
Yeah.
Not just your physical environment, but your phone environment, your digital environment. You need to manage that, and you need to know what it's doing to you so you can make changes to it.
Yeah. Well, I think on that brilliant piece of advice, which I really agree with, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. For
all the links will be in the description to all your socials. But I mean, I just want to ask one question. What do you care about the most right now in life? Because it seems to me when I say, I just put your social in there, some people will be like, yeah, fuck yeah. And you're like, yeah, I really don't give a shit. But yeah, thank you for putting it in the description, which is
I literally don't care. I'm just hustling in the real world. I don't care about my digital life anymore that much.
Makes kind of sense.
And yeah,
it does. But
it's like a missed opportunity, and I realize that. But I'm laying it just chill there for a little bit while I'm in the real world honing whatever skill I wanna hone. And then I can project that to the internet later when it's when it's good.
That's true.
When I feel like it, when I need it.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to do anything digitally anymore.
Yeah.
I just go to people and
Makes
I teach them to move.
Yeah.
It's such a freeing thing.
I think that last thing is probably the important thing, right? I'm not going to say you had a life with no freedom, but you had like such a structured life where you had to do all these things. And then we didn't even go into this. You used to make a vlog every single day, which is crazy, by the way. And now all of a sudden you don't have to. And probably that feeling, and it's only been 4 or 5 months and you don't have to do a lot of things. I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
How are you?
Well, I'm still doing a lot of things.
Yeah,
but those things are set in my day and they don't cost effort to produce.
Yeah, only 6 hours.
Because people expect me to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So I'm there.
We will still put your links in the description.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. The tea
Dave.
was great. It was actually, what was the flavor?
Blueberry muffin.
Blueberry muffin.
muffin.
It was a great flavor.
Thank you.
And again, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Smash like, subscribe, hit bell, and we'll see you in the next episode.